Welcome to my channel Sci-Fi Love Story. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Ethan wandered through the bustling alien bazaar, his eyes scanning the strange assortment of creatures around him. He had always been fascinated by other worlds, but walking through this city, a sprawling metropolis on the planet Zythera Prime, was both thrilling and intimidating. Towering metallic structures shimmered in the neon glow, and the air was thick with the hum of hovering vehicles and the chatter of countless alien voices. He muttered under his breath, "I don't know why I even came here." His human accent sounded harsh against the melodic tones of the surrounding speech, drawing a few curious glances from the crowd. Ethan adjusted his worn jacket, feeling the weight of being one of the few humans on this planet. That's when he saw her. She appeared almost out of nowhere, stepping lightly across the plaza. Her presence was magnetic. Ethan froze for a moment, staring at the alien woman before him. She was tall, with shimmering silver-blue skin that seemed to glow faintly under the neon lights. Her hair floated gently around her face, moving as if it had its own life. And her eyes, they were impossible to forget, deep violet, reflecting intelligence, power, and something else, something that tugged at his chest. You are different from the others," she said, her voice melodic and calm. It carried a weight of authority, yet there was a softness in it, as if she were curious rather than commanding. Ethan blinked, unsure how to respond. Nervousness danced through him, but he tried to hide it behind a joke. "Well, if you ever proposed, I'd say yes." For a moment, the bazaar seemed to disappear. The alien woman's lips curved into a faint, mysterious smile. Then, unexpectedly, she leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper that only Ethan could hear. "Then say yes." Ethan's heart skipped a beat. He blinked rapidly, unsure whether he had heard her correctly. The crowd around him went on as if nothing had happened, but he felt an electric charge in the air. The words lingered, simple yet charged with meaning. Before he could speak, she turned and walked away, her movements smooth and graceful, almost gliding. Ethan wanted to call out to her, but something held him back, fear, awe, or perhaps disbelief. As she disappeared into the crowd, he noticed something glowing on the ground where she had stood. Kneeling, he picked up a small pendant, unlike anything he had ever seen. It shimmered with a pale blue light and hummed softly in his hand. Almost instantly, visions flickered through his mind, glimpses of a vast alien civilization, cities of crystal and metal, beings moving with purpose, and a sense of urge. In C, like something was about to happen. Ethan swallowed hard. This was no ordinary alien encounter. This was something much bigger, something dangerous, and somehow, she had chosen him. He quickly pocketed the pendant, his curiosity overpowering his fear. Following her was instinctive, and before he knew it, he was slipping through narrow alleyways and crowded streets, trying to catch a glimpse of her. The city lights blurred around him as he ran, adrenaline pumping. Finally, he arrived at a hidden spaceport, abandoned except for a few broken ships and flickering lights. The alien woman was there, standing beside a sleek starship that seemed designed for both speed and elegance. She was calm, almost expectant, as if she had known he would follow. You didn't have to come," she said softly, but there was a trace of something in her voice, relief, perhaps, or a test. I had to," Ethan stammered. "I don't even know why, but I had to see you again." Her smile widened faintly. "You've already said yes," she said, her tone playful yet serious. "There is no going back now." Ethan frowned, unsure what she meant. Before he could ask, a low rumble echoed across the spaceport. Shadows moved along the walls, armored figures, clearly guards, and they were heading straight for them. "They found us," she said calmly. "We need to move, now." Without waiting for him to respond, she gestured toward a hidden corridor leading under the spaceport. Ethan followed, trying to keep up. His lungs burned, his mind raced, but he could not take his eyes off her. There was a strange courage in her movements, a confidence that contrasted sharply with his own uncertainty. As they ran, she began speaking, almost to herself, but loud enough for him to hear. "The humans, they are not prepared. They cannot understand the dangers we face. But she glanced at Ethan briefly, he may be the one who can help." Ethan's heart pounded. Did she really mean him? He was just a human, a simple explorer. What could he possibly do in this advanced alien world? The corridor twisted and turned, leading them to a small chamber hidden beneath the spaceport. It was dark and cramped, with only a few flickering lights to guide them. They crouched behind a stack of metallic crates, listening as the guards searched above them. This is insane, Ethan whispered, trying to catch his breath. Why me? Why are you even here with me? She turned to him, her eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Because you are different. Unlike the others, you do not fear the unknown. You do not run from responsibility, even if you do not yet realize it. Ethan shook his head. I'm just lucky. No, she said firmly. You are more than luck. Fate brought you here, Ether. Whether you accept it or not, your life has changed forever. A distant crash shook the spaceport. One of the guards had discovered the corridor's entrance. Ethan's heart leaped into his throat. They had no time to waste. Follow me, she said, and without another word, she led him through a maze of corridors that seemed to stretch endlessly. Along the way, she explained pieces of her world, the struggles her people faced, the rival factions vying for power, and the pendant, now glowing faintly in Ethan's pocket, that was a key to saving her planet. Ethan listened in awe, barely believing the story. He had come to Zythera Prime seeking adventure, curiosity, and maybe a little excitement. But this was beyond anything he had imagined. Finally, they reached a hidden chamber at the heart of the spaceport. The alien woman stepped forward, placing a hand on a console that lit up with holographic displays. The pendant in Ethan's pocket responded immediately, glowing brighter as if recognizing its place in the system. Ethan's pulse quickened. What does it do? It is the key to stabilizing the energy core of my world, she explained. Without it, the faction threatening my people will destroy everything we have worked for. But with it, we have a chance. A very small chance, but a chance nonetheless. Before Ethan could respond, the armored guards broke into the chamber. The alien woman acted instantly, activating the security shields and pulling Ethan behind her. Blast of fire lit up the room, sparks flying as they ricocheted off the walls. Ethan ducked behind a console, trying to steady his shaking hands. I don't know if I can do this, he admitted. She looked at him, her gaze piercing yet reassuring. You have already said yes, she whispered again. Now you must act. Ethan swallowed hard. His life on Earth had been quiet, predictable, lonely. Here, in a strange world filled with danger, intrigue, and a woman who had trusted him without question, he felt something stir inside him, courage, determination, and an unfamiliar warmth in his chest. He glanced at the glowing pendant in his hand and then at her. His decision came naturally, instinctively. Whatever came next, he would face it, not as a lone human, but as someone chosen for a purpose greater than himself. The chapter ended with them pressed against the chamber wall, shields flickering, blast of fire cracking around them. Ethan's mind raced, but one thought was clear: he could not run. He could not hide. He had already said yes, and now, there was no turning back. The sound of blast of fire echoed through the hidden chamber as Ethan pressed himself against the wall, heart hammering in his chest. Sparks danced across the metal floor, and the faint hum of the shields surrounding him offered only a fragile sense of protection. The alien woman, the princess of Zythera Prime, stood tall and composed despite the chaos. Her violet eyes glowed softly, reflecting determination. Stay close, she commanded, her voice calm but firm. We must get to the control console and stabilize the core. Ethan nodded, swallowing hard. His hands shook, but he clenched the pendant in his pocket, feeling its warmth seep into his palm. He had no idea how it worked, only that it was somehow connected to her people's survival. The guards broke through the first layer of shields, their armor clanging against the energy barriers. Ethan ducked instinctively, but the princess moved with grace, her body flowing like water as she deflected and dodged. He watched, amazed, as her movements seemed almost impossible, fluid and precise. I don't know if I can do this, Ethan admitted, his voice trembling. You already said yes, she said again, her hand brushing against his arm. Now you must mean it. Those words ignited something inside him. Fear and doubt still gnawed at his stomach, but he realized she believed in him. That alone was enough to push him forward. He followed her into a narrow corridor leading deeper into the spaceport. The corridor was dimly lit, flickering panels casting shadows on the walls. The sounds of pursuit grew louder, armored footsteps, mechanical humming, and the unmistakable click of advanced weaponry. They ducked into an empty maintenance bay, the door sliding shut behind them. For a brief moment, the chaos outside ceased, and silence enveloped them. Ethan turned to the princess, studying her face. She looked almost human now, not a radiant alien princess, but someone he could touch, someone he could care for. Tell me about you, he said quietly, leaning against the wall. She tilted her head, surprised. About me? Yes, he said. Everything you've been hiding, your life, your world. Why you chose me. Her eyes softened, and she stepped closer. I am the heir to Zythera Prime, she began. My people are facing a threat, a faction that seeks to overthrow the council and control the planet's energy core. The pendant you found is the key to stabilizing the core. Without it, the energy will collapse, and my world will be lost. Ethan listened, absorbing every word. He had expected adventure, maybe danger, but not this. Not responsibility for an entire alien civilization. Why me? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. I'm just a human. I don't know anything about your world, your technology. You are different from the others, she said firmly. Most humans would flee, afraid of the unknown. You follow. You trust. That is rare. That is why you are here. Ethan's chest tightened. Had never felt like anyone had trusted him like that before. Never in his life. And yet, here he was, holding a pendant that could save a world. Before they could dwell on it further, the door slid open with a loud hiss. The guards had found them. Their weapons glowed with deadly energy, and their leader, a tall figure in dark armor, stepped forward. You cannot escape, he said in a metallic voice, scanning the room. Give us the pendant, and we may spare your lives. The princess moved swiftly, pressing a few buttons on the console. Shields sprang up, throwing the guards back. Sparks flew, and Ethan instinctively ducked, his heart racing. We don't have much time, she said, grabbing his hand. You must help me activate the core. The pendant will guide us, but it needs your touch. Ethan nodded, swallowing his fear. He stepped forward, placing the pendant onto the console. Immediately, it vibrated, glowing brighter than before. Holographic images appeared around them. Schematics of the planet's energy core, streams of blue energy flowing through its circuits. The princess began manipulating the controls, her fingers moving with practiced precision. Follow my instructions, she said. Focus on the pendant. Imagine the energy stabilizing. You are the link between my world and its survival. Ethan hesitated, unsure if he could do it. But then he looked at her, this alien woman who had trusted him, who had spoken those 3 words that changed everything, then say yes. He closed his eyes and concentrated, letting the warmth of the pendant flow through him. Slowly, he felt the energy hum in harmony with his heartbeat. The lights on the console brightened, streams of blue and silver intertwining, spreading across the holographic map. Outside, the guards renewed their attack, but the princess kept her focus, guiding the energy through the pendant. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and the chamber shook. Ethan felt a surge of power, almost overwhelming, coursing through him. He gritted his teeth and concentrated harder. Then, with a blinding flash of light, the energy core stabilized. The chamber shook violently, and the guards were thrown back by the force of the energy surge. The shields held, the lights steadied, and silence returned. Ethan opened his eyes, panting, staring at the console in disbelief. The pendant had dimmed slightly but still glowed softly, a sign of its work complete. The princess stepped closer, placing her hand on his shoulder. You did it, she whispered. You saved my world. Ethan shook his head, a mixture of awe and exhaustion on his face. I just did what you told me. No, she said firmly, looking into his eyes. You chose to act. You chose to believe. That is what made the difference. For a moment, they stood in silence, the chaos of the world outside fading away. Ethan realized how close they were, how fragile and precious this moment felt. Ethan, she said softly, her hand brushing his. You said yes, do you mean it? His heart skipped a beat. He thought of Earth, of the life he had left behind. He thought of the loneliness he had always carried. And he thought of her, the alien woman who had chosen him, who had trusted him without question. I do, he whispered, his voice steady now. I'll say yes, if you really mean it. A soft smile spread across her face, and she placed her hand over his. I do, she said. And now, you are truly part of my world. Outside, the city lights of Zythera Prime shimmered under the twin moons. The energy core stabilized, sending waves of power through the planet, ensuring its survival. The rival faction retreated, their threat neutralized, for now. Ethan and the princess stood together on the balcony of the spaceport, looking out at the city. He felt a strange mixture of fear, excitement, and hope. He had left his world behind, yet he had gained something far greater, a purpose, an adventure, and someone who believed in him. "You know," he said, breaking the silence, "I never thought I'd be here, on an alien planet, saving a civilization." She laughed softly, the sound like music to his ears. "And yet, here you are." Ethan looked at her, a smile forming on his lips. "I never expected to fall for an alien princess either." She stepped closer, her hand finding his. "You didn't fall," she said gently. "You chose." The wind swept across the balcony, lifting strands of her shimmering hair. Ethan felt the warmth of her hand, the certainty of her words, and the weight of the journey ahead. Whatever challenges awaited them, he knew one thing: they would face them together. For the first time in his life, Ethan felt whole. He had found love, purpose, and adventure, all in a world he had never imagined, guided by a woman who had whispered words that changed everything. And as the twin moons rose higher in the sky, Ethan and the alien princess stood side by side, ready to face the unknown.